Hello and welcome back to the Knowledge and Power Show. Tonight we're talking about suffering in silence, how the pandemic has changed how we do relationships. Let's go.
Sacrifice and really acknowledge and be mindful of the sacrifice we make.
Sorry. What can you say? What's up? What's up, Nate?
What's up? How's it going, bro?
It's going great. It's going great, man. Did you see that intro?
I did. I saw that.
You
I
saw that?
was kind of caught off guard by that.
Yeah, I was kind of caught off guard by it too, man. Means that we are actually.
What'd you think of it?
I think it looks good, man.
It was
If I
all right.
must say so myself.
Mhm.
If I must say so for myself. We want to give a shout out to the mastermind, the artist behind the music instrumental.
Oh yeah,
That
please
would-
shout him out.
That would be one Deshaun Atu McKinstry
Yes.
came up with that. What would you call it? That hook, that
Yeah.
lick,
That lick, that hook. Yeah, Sean is a master, man. So we look forward to getting more music from him. He's a master, unknown, but he should be known.
Yeah. So, man, it's been a minute, dude. We're back.
Yeah, we had quite a break, and but I'm glad we're able to get back to business once
Yeah.
and for all.
So I welcome everybody for joining us tonight. This is an exciting season. We're
Mhm.
starting a new season here, and
Season 6.
Season 6. It doesn't
Can
even
you
seem
believe
like
it?
Man. Can't. It's hard to believe. We just kind of running through them like that. So,
Yeah.
This season we kind of talked about. We want to kind of focus on a series as it relates to families.
Okay.
So we'll be covering topics that actually impact the family.
Yeah.
So in some way, like tonight's topic, we'll talk about it. Look at some of the comments that'll be coming across.
Mhm.
And ultimately, towards the end, we're just going to kind of tie it into how it actually impacts or affects the family. But before we begin, I got to say that I'm ready for the night's game. I'm representing
Okay.
tonight.
Okay.
Representing
Okay.
them Celtics, man.
Yeah, every time I see that, man, it takes me back to the day. Boston and Detroit in the Eastern
Yeah.
Conference.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy. Robert
Yep.
Parrish and Bird and McHale.
Exactly.
Kevin.
The
Damn.
bad boys era.
Man, boy, yeah, that team was hated in Detroit.
They were hated, man.
Hated.
And the funny thing about it here, I'll just say this, and we can go ahead and get started, is that everybody loves the Golden State Warriors, mainly because of one Stephen Curry.
Yeah,
And,
he's pretty good. I guess he's
Yeah.
worth the accolades.
Yeah, I got mad respect for Steph.
Mhm.
His they always want to link him to being a believer. Well, that's great if he is. That's phenomenal
Yeah.
because it's all
Mhm.
about this world gonna pass away. It's all about where our soul spends eternity. So that's great if he
Correct.
really is. But I would like to say that I heard my boy Al Horford kicking
What do
some
you say?
guy when he did his interview this past in the blowout game. Well, it wasn't a blowout game, in the game that they just had this past Thursday. He
Okay.
was just saying he just like to thank his Lord and Savior that he's actually able to still be able to move around and be just to be able to move like he is, because he's 36 years old now.
Is
And
he?
he's not
Al
playing like a
Horford is
36-year-old.
36 years old.
Right. So he was
Bro.
giving mad ups to the Lord.
I remember watching him in high school here in Waverly High School in the Lansing area.
Is that right?
Yes.
Wow, man.
Oh my God.
Yes, Al Horford is putting it down, man. So I
Wow.
like me some Celtics to win in 6. So
Okay.
we've already taken care of one game.
You got the Celtics in 6, huh?
Got the Celtics in 6, yeah.
Okay,
man.
let's see.
So,
But they play that hard game of basketball, man. So that hardcore physical ball. So let's see what they can do.
yeah. Yeah. So if we can say real quick, man. So what have you been up to since we've had the long break before we actually break into tonight's topic?
Yeah, let me just recognize the absence of my man Jeremy. He's out of town on his way back from Florida. He's not going to be able to make it back in time to be on the show, but we wish him well, safe journeys, and we
Yeah.
will see him next week. He sends his love to everybody.
Yep.
But yeah, man, since the last time I saw you, I've celebrated 29 years of marriage.
Awesome.
Took a trip to
Awesome.
Florida.
Awesome.
Yeah, just lots been going on, man. Just busy. But that trip to Florida, we went to Boca Raton / Fort Lauderdale area. Had a great time, man. Surprised the wife with tickets to the Maxwell concert in Miami.
Wow, man, you did it up.
Yeah, man. I tried to do a little something, make the event special. It was on our anniversary, so it made the anniversary really special.
Sweet.
So we got a chance to see him and Anthony Hamilton, Joe, in concert, and we just had a really good time. It was really relaxing, really refreshing, really a chance to reconnect with my wife, and we had a great time, man. I love getting out of town with her, and especially in sunny, beachy shores. We had a good time on the beach, if you know what I'm saying.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. So yeah, I had to ask. We got a chance to hang out with you guys last week, so it was a good time.
Oh yeah, you sure did.
I forgot to get to ask Michelle what was her insight on the concert.
Oh man,
how much she enjoyed
I can't thoroughly speak for her, but she had a great time, man. I was almost jealous of her and Maxwell's relationship. That's all I'm saying. I'm just gonna say that I was almost jealous, but I'm secure.
Hilarious. That's funny, man. Well, not much has been happening my way. Just been kind of taking it easy. I will say that thanks be to God that I'm about to celebrate 52 years of life.
Man, you right around the corner.
On Tuesday. Yeah, man, I'm excited about that. Nothing huge planned this year. Just taking it easy, man. Just kind of want to just, thank God for still being here, man.
That's the best thing you can do, man.
And health can be a little challenging sometimes, but hey, nevertheless, I have breath in my body. Mm-hmm. I'm able to give him all the praise.
Amen. For real. So I'm glad you made it to 52, man. So that gives me hope for me to make it a few months later.
Yep. And I gotta finish that statement with, my one shout out all the time. I gotta lace him up again.
Oh, he's still on
at 52. Yes, man. Yes.
Look, I told you I'd do it, man, one last time. So yes. we just gotta give me some advance notice of the date so I can get myself together. So I'm gonna go out there and look like a crazy fool.
Right. That's what I should have did for my birthday. I should have said I want all the fellas that are in my circle to just hit the gym
one last time,
but not play against each other. Find some young cats. Yeah, find some young cats that think they know it all. And we do what we do.
They got that speed and agility, man. We would be able to keep up with that.
Hey, man, we use the power of prayer.
Call down curses upon them.
Yeah, there you go. May a bear appear in the paint. Just take him out.
Oh my goodness.
Take him out.
Hilarious.
But tonight's topic is we were just sitting around kicking it. Mm-hmm. And I think it's near and dear probably to a lot of people. We've all probably experienced it. We're talking about suffering in silence.
Yeah.
And that I think is important to talk about. And hopefully by the end of the show, or at least if you go back and watch this podcast later on, it'll kind of maybe jumpstart you to kind of work through that, because I don't think anyone should really have to.
No, we shouldn't
suffer in silence, man.
Yeah, but relationships are tricky as it is. And specifically we're kind of targeting this not post-pandemic, but in the pandemic era, how relationships and friendships, that dynamic, how it's changed specifically, or especially for males, because men tend to do relationships and friendships different than the ladies do. I think we put more obstacles in our way to having fulfilling relationships.
Wow, you said we put it in our way.
Yeah, I think we do.
Interesting, man.
We'll get into that,
Interesting.
As we talk.
I'm not going to read the article because it is a lot. But
It is a long article, but it's a worthy read.
it is a worthy read.
Yeah,
Should have
very
Should have
interesting.
put it up so that people can watch it or read it later on in the link.
Yeah.
But the title of the article is called "No Game Days, No Bars." The pandemic is forcing some men to realize they need deeper friendships.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of just to kind of skim and just kind of paraphrase the article. It pretty much talked about how a guy realized during the early stages of the pandemic how he, really didn't have any kind of really tight relationships because he was shut away. All of us were on lockdown, no matter where you lived.
Yeah.
And then he began to kind of suffer inwardly about some of the things that were going on in his world. But then he realized that the suffering, he paid attention to the suffering more so because he could no longer go to the bars to hang out with the guys. He could no longer go to the games to hang out with the guys. So those kind of activities were kind of pulled from him and he was forced to look within.
Right.
And some of the things that were bothering him, he could mask over those things because he had the bars, because he had the games to go to,
right,
because he was kind of get with the
right.
fellas.
Right.
But since that was taken away, he began to realize, okay, who can I call and really talk to? And he discovered that there was really nobody.
Really?
He had broke up with this girl. Yeah, he broke up with his girlfriend or something like that, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and his relationship ended during the pandemic.
Yep. Yeah, and he didn't know how to approach talking about it with the guys. So that was a relationship. You got people suffering with relationships, people suffering with illnesses, people suffering with job issues, people suffering just about different things, man. And we don't know how to approach it
or to communicate it.
Yes.
Yeah. I think what you pointed out was that we and I'm talking about men specifically, a lot of us tend to have superficial relationships. The article talked about how men tend to stand shoulder to shoulder together in terms of like going to sports events and hanging out at bars and clubs and getting together to talk about sports or money or stuff like that. But they really never get into deep personal issues that they're dealing with inwardly in their home life or their work life or their whatever life. When they're kicking it with the fellas, they really never cross that barrier because of limiting factors that we might put in our way ourselves. And that's what I said earlier. We kind of put our own obstacles out there. How many times have you heard somebody say no homo, but
because you're starting to open up.
Yeah, then they open up and say something transparent, or they make themselves a bit vulnerable or something like that. Whereas, our female counterparts, the ladies, they really got that relationship thing, connection thing kind of down. They'll get together, they'll go to get coffee, they'll go get, spa days, they'll hang out, anywhere, talk, they'll get together, book clubs, the whole nine, they'll get together and do all this kind of thing. And they'll really get into some personal stuff, whereas men tend to back away from that because they're afraid to be vulnerable to each other because it represents weakness, or there might be a homophobic kind of thing attached to it because that's not what men do.
But it doesn't escape the fact that there's a whole bunch of stuff swirling around, in my head, in my heart.
Right.
And wow, it's just sad that you feel like you can't approach it because you'll be looked like you're less than.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where the suffering and silence comes in, because people who have that mentality just really don't have anybody to talk to. Because as kids, I'm not sure how you were raised, and I wasn't necessarily raised like this, but I heard other people. I know other people that were raised like this. They were always taught, a man does this and a man doesn't do that. A man don't cry and a man doesn't express himself, and a man, giving images of what a man is. But a man is a person just like anybody else. A man has issues, a man has feelings, a man has challenges just like anybody else, and he needs to be able to speak about those and help processing those just like anybody else does. We bottle that stuff in because we're afraid to detach ourselves from our perceived manhood.
Wow, that's heavy, Nate, and that's really good. I think
Mhm.
you hit it right on the head right there. Um, there is a there's a song that I heard today when I was coming in, and it was by the brothers.
All right. The brothers
Yep,
being commissioned.
yep, the brothers being
Oh yeah.
commissioned. And it's called "I Can Love Again."
Oh yeah. That's
And
the
here,
cut.
so I begin to pick up. I'm gonna read just the first couple of lines from the one song, and I'm gonna kind
Okay.
of get into a certain angle of that. It opens up. The verse opens up by saying, mm, "A smile would hide my pain.
Hmm.
I'd have to laugh to keep from shedding a tear.
Oh yeah.
The sting of a promise broken, a needed word unspoken, help turn my pain to fear." Then it goes on, and so that's what the writer, if we were to set the stage for how this song is, what it's trying to capture, the writer is talking about they have to mask over what they're actually feeling because something went wrong, something went awry,
Okay.
um, and they had to use a painted on smile pretty much to just so that the world could not see what was really going on the inside. Now,
Wow.
actually, as the song goes on, we know that um, the lyrics go on to connect that Jesus stepped in and mended and healed all that kind of stuff. And that's great for the song, but in every case, as I was thinking about it while I was driving, in every case, man, we know that being believers as we are, and there's some people that are listening, but we also know there are a lot of people that are listening are not. They haven't given their life to the Lord for whatever
Hmm.
reason yet. I'm gonna say yet because there's always hope. But sometimes the Lord will put people in your life that you need to open up to.
That's true.
And this is not taking away any power, any authority from what the Holy Spirit can do. But nevertheless, it feels great to be able to pick up the phone or to jump in my car and make the drive to one of my homies' house to say,
Right.
"Hey, this is what's going on, man." I mean, I know that if I spend time in prayer and all that kind of stuff, that the Lord will step in. But
Hmm.
nevertheless, man, um, I'm gonna just put you on the spot, Nate. If I believe that your prayer life means anything,
Okay.
and that you have not been just kind of gliding through or glossing through this life of living for Jesus,
Hmm.
and yet on my way to heaven, but it should mean something enough that I should be able to come to you, and you should be able to, if nothing else, be there with me to sit with me. If you have no other words because they haven't been given to you, but you can at least say, "Well, man, all I got right now is, a hug. I can sit with you, and that's all I can give you right now." But
Right.
but for some reason, we just feel like we rather stay with the entrapment of "I'll keep it to myself,"
Hmm.
because yeah, and that's
Yeah.
that's a terrible thing.
Yeah. I think that boils down to, I think the word I used earlier was mentality, because if you feel like, you're able to, make yourself transparent and vulnerable to another brother, another man, to speak your truth and what you're going through, if you have no problem doing that, then you'll do it. You know, but there's just so many of us that have an issue with doing that. But the benefit is, and that what that article talks about is that the men that they highlighted in the article, the examples they used, a lot of them found their voice and being able to express themselves about the issues of depression or things that were going on at work or how they were feeling about the pandemic. And,
Mhm.
rather than just sitting around talking about, sports or whatever,
Sports,
you
yeah.
know, they were able to find that it was okay to open up to other guys and talk about things. And they found out in opening up to other guys that these other guys were also naturally dealing with their own issues, and they've been able to build support groups and help each other, and form deeper friendships because of that dynamic being explored, that being be opening themselves
Exposed.
up and being vulnerable. Yep.
Hmm. Hmm. So, with that being said, do you think it also can be a fear of if I tell you my junk, you're gonna use it against me?
Oh, that's always a fear, man. That's always a fear. Um, I don't know how many, I can't speak for every man, but I know I've been in situations where, I've told or expressed, my inner stuff to another guy and ended up backfiring, being used against me, used to make me look bad in front of other people, or in a, somebody trying to snatch my girl or something like that. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Um, those kind of things are the risks. I mean, it's a risky business putting yourself out there. So that's why you really gotta be kind of selective and knowing people before you really start just dropping bombs and nuggets on people before I think you need to know that you can trust them with your inner stuff before you start expressing it or sharing it with them.
Yeah, I agree. And that
Hmm.
word that you just used right there, trust,
Hmm.
that's a loaded word, bro. Because here's the thing. Sometimes, even with trust, a person may come along and disappoint you
Hmm.
for whatever reason. But so let me back for a second. You don't know that you can trust a person until you put it out there.
Exactly.
And
You
you
gotta take
go,
that risk.
yeah, you got to take that risk, and they may feel uncomfortable. You may go back, leave that moment saying, "Why did I say something?" Wow,
Hmm.
they can use that against me now. I mean, these are all things that may be going through your head, but nevertheless, you have to sit back. A person earns trust by you seeing what they do with that vulnerable
Exactly.
information. But
Hmm.
even if they disappoint you, um, it doesn't mean that you can't trust again, and even that person. Because I'm sure along the line, man, I would like to say we've had some bumps and bruises along the way in our friendship, man. But for the most part, it's been great.
Hmm.
But I'm sure there's been something that was probably breached or told for whatever reason, in the 30 plus years of our friendship, man, that we had to work through that thing.
Yeah.
But we don't want to be disappointed. That's the problem. And we want to guarantee that you are going to hold my stuff and it's not going to get out beyond you and me. And sometimes I may not have the information or the answers that you need, but yet I know somebody else that if you would just talk to them,
Hmm.
they actually will make a difference because they're more of a, just because I'm your boy, don't mean that I can totally understand or I've been in that place that you're in,
Hmm.
whatever it may be. But I may know somebody
Right.
that seems like they're in the very same situation as you, though they not may not be handling it the same way. Neither will they probably feel the same way emotionally that you feel, but still, that would be a better person you should probably bounce this thing off of versus
Yeah.
me. Some people get upset about that because I told you and I left it with you and
Well,
you
I
told the
think
world.
if you man, yeah, that can be tricky because people do hold, especially guys, we hold our information sacred. And so if you go share even part of it with somebody that you think might be able to help, um, it could be looked at as betrayal. It could be looked at as you out there telling my business. And
Yes,
so yeah, it's a slippery slope. I think there are ways to manage that. You could always ask permission first, or
true.
let your friend know, hey man, I don't think I can help you out with that, but I know somebody that's been through what you're going through. I know a professional that specializes in this stuff. Do you mind if I, drop me your digits, or can I give you their number so y'all can connect? You
That
know,
is true.
I mean, you could do it like that, but yeah, it's tricky, man. That's why I think people in general just, well, I better take that back because I know people that just tell their life story right on the spot. But yes, I think our people tend to be a little more guarded with our information, just because of it's a historical thing. We've been
It's
burnt, we've been burnt
it,
so many times, so we hold our stuff close to the chest or to the vest, as they say.
yeah, and judgment too.
Hmm.
And I'm not going to just say our people, but oof, it is a lot of our people.
Hmm.
They I don't know why, man. It's just like it's something. It's almost like it's a badge of honor if I look a certain way,
Yeah, that's
and
strange to me.
I
I've seen that.
present a certain persona, and we just really rather wear a mask and just kind of
hmm
gloss over what's really going on. And like I said, I know you some people tell all their business, and you can't tell everything to everybody. But I don't know. I guess I've learned since I've gotten older, since I've gone through a little bit more life, that my motto is, I control only what I can control.
Yeah, that's all you
And
can do.
what I need to get out, I'm going to put it out there.
hmm
So I mean, if I need to kind of clear my head and clear my heart, because I've heard this statement before that pressure bursts pipes. Have you heard that before?
Yes, I have. It does.
Yeah. So
But that's like because you can't hold stuff in for too long because it's
for too
going
long.
that pressure needs to be released. And usually when you hold it in, it's released in inconvenient places at inconvenient times and inconvenient ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a shame, it's a shame that for some people, their most honest state in life is when they lick it and load it. When they load it and lick it.
Yeah, that truth serum. They get that truth serum in them, boy.
Right.
They get a little lax and feel comfortable talking about stuff.
Yeah.
But I think that's just too bad because I've always been a guy that all my life really, I was in my family, I was around mostly women, coming up. My mom was a single mom for a long time. She got a bunch of sisters and stuff like that. So I saw, how they interact. And so I was very comfortable, having conversations with people, real conversations about real stuff. I was never really like, I could only talk about sports. So I could only talk about success. I could only talk about these things. I could actually get in and have, a deep conversation with the best of them. If I was dealing with something internally, I had no problem sharing with the right people. But everybody doesn't have that experience. And so, sometimes it's hard for people to articulate what they're feeling, what they're going through, what they're dealing with, because they're really not used to doing that. And so it's just easier to stay on the surface than to even go deeper than that.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, the other thing I noticed is I think sometimes people hold back because, the deep stuff that we're dealing with often makes us put the mirror up to ourselves and we don't like what we see. So why would anybody else want to hear about something I don't even like myself? Yeah. Now I'm just gonna keep that to myself because I don't even enjoy having to look at it and have to deal with it. So, I'll just suppress it.
Yeah, we can suppress it. We can, and some of us can suppress. There have been times in my life when I have suppressed it very well. So I thought.
Mm-hmm.
But in suppressing something, man, there are two things that I discovered, and I'm gonna see what's your take on it. I have to agree with you, but I just want to hear your take.
Okay.
One of the things that occurs when you decide to suppress the suffering of whatever it is that you're dealing with within is that number one, I think you're really being a shell of yourself. So if I'm keeping straight to the cuff what I'm dealing with, and you are coming around me and trying to talk to me, I'm not giving you all of me in the sense of conversation wise,
Right.
as my boy, you may have issues at, work, at home, or with the kids, whatever. And you're talking to me as a confidant, and hoping that I can kind of drop a nugget your way or something like that. But yet I'm hearing you, but I'm not really vested in what you're saying because I'm so taken by what's going on in my world, the storm that's going on inside of me, that I can't really, I'm like, so I give you kind of brush off responses like, well, man, yeah, that's tight, man. Ooh,
right.
Yeah, man, I hate to hear you going through that. You just got to work through it, man. And that's because I'm so focused on what I'm going through, but I'm not telling you, I'm not telling anybody else, because every day that I wake up, it's still with me. And there's been no release or no relief because it's just with me and I'm not sharing it with anybody else.
Right.
And I'm thinking that as I move along, it's going to get better, as if it was with me on Monday and now it's Thursday, but I've told nobody since Monday, and I'm thinking the situation is going to change and get better. And again, with God, all things are possible. But what He has surrounded you with, supposedly, people that are body believers in your circle that can get a prayer through, that can pray, that can just, if nothing else, pray for your mind, not to just snap or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even want to use them like that. So that's one. I'm a shell of myself as a friend to you. And the second thing that I think it impacts me when I hold it close to the chest is that it's definitely affected my health.
Oh yeah, that's a big one.
It's affected my health, man, in so many ways. There was a period in my life where, and I'll say this. Well, I'll let you go ahead and respond to that first, and then I'll go back to what I was going to say. So you got any?
No, I was just going to say that I agree, being a shell of a friend. But that's real though. That's real talk, because the stuff we deal with, some of that stuff can be pretty serious, and it can consume your thought, your mind, your emotions, to the point where you really can't give yourself to a friendship or a relationship, not even sometimes 50%, because you dealing with so many issues yourself, that it's hard for you to invest yourself, like you said, in another relationship, much less try to help somebody else through an issue that they're dealing with. If you got two boulders tied to your ankles, it's really hard to move with somebody else in any direction.
But wouldn't it just be easier if you just say, "Look, Ray, I ain't for all that right now. Come on, back it up. I can't go there right now. I got some of my own personal issues that I'm going through."
I mean, yeah, that like I said, that's being real. I would appreciate, I would respect that.
Yeah, but we don't do that.
We don't do that. We do tend to put up that image, wear that mask, try to make it seem like we got everything together. But yeah, man. I mean, just soliciting, like you said, even just a simple prayer from somebody, man, can help alleviate that stress and that pressure that you might be dealing with. There's benefits in helping somebody else through something, even when you're going through something yourself.
Yeah.
When you help somebody else, you give an atmosphere and an environment of hope. You showing somebody compassion.
Yeah.
And all that stuff has to be reflected back to you in your life, if that's what you're putting out.
Yeah.
The law of reciprocity, as they call it. That's guaranteed to come back your way. Bible calls it the law of seed time and harvest. So, it's definitely to your benefit to help other people, even when you're going through yourself. You might gain insight on what you're going through by helping somebody else. But exactly. Don't be afraid to, like you said, say, I'm just not there right now. I'm going through too much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a statement that I would, because we always want to present our best image of ourselves.
Right, we do.
Hey, to each his own. But there's a statement that I always make, that if you look long enough, or if you look close enough, I'll say that if you look close enough at me, you'll see the errors, you'll see the flaws in my life and my character, because none of us are perfect, man. But I just don't know why we try to present that, that image that nothing goes on in my world. No, nothing, financially, I'm set. Emotionally, I'm set. Spiritually, health-wise,
everything.
I mean, it's like, dang, everything is just, man, I want to wake up on your side of the street.
I mean, why do you think we do that? I know you wanted to talk about health stuff, but why do you think that we present the image like we got it all together to other folks? And you logically, that nobody has it all together. I mean, if you sit down and just are honest, nobody has it all together. So why is it so important for us to put forth that image like life has not touched us? We're unscathed. We've been in the smoke chamber, the fire chamber, and came out not even smelling like smoke.
not singed,
not
nothing.
singed at all. You know, why do we act like that's the case?
Oh man, I have my reasons, my thoughts about that,
Mm-hmm.
and I really haven't honed in on how I can articulate a
Yeah,
response to that. To be honest with you, um, but I just know that I don't know if it's just embarrassment
I
that
don't know.
we want to one up a person. If I look across the way, keeping up with the Joneses type deal.
Yeah.
Who wants to? There, I work with youth. That's what I've been doing most of my career,
Mm-hmm.
and I would talk to them sometime, and I would say, because I would teach a sexual education, abstinence education is what I would teach.
Okay.
Holding off, delaying, gratifying sex until marriage. And I would tell them that it would be easy if a person walked around with a shirt that says, I intend to break your heart, or I
Really?
intend to get you pregnant and leave you. I mean, it'd be
Mm-hmm.
easier to be able to stay clear of people like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, but you got people with those kind of intentions, they just don't make it known.
Right.
So if you think about it, why don't we project what we're really feeling and try to keep up with everybody else and just be real? I'm not going to say to you that I barely paid my rent last month, or um, I don't know that I have a drinking problem, something like that. And I'm not going to show you my flawed side because I'm
Mm-hmm.
afraid of how that will affect our friendship, our relationship. How will you judge me?
Yeah.
Not
I think that's the
realizing
thing
that,
right there. Judgment.
yeah, judgment, and not realizing that, you could be friends with somebody and never take full advantage of who they're supposed to be in your life because you're not being real. You're not being authentic. When they could have what you need to really
Mm-hmm.
change the very trajectory of your life. And they're just waiting on you. I mean, they don't know what's going on, but God
Right.
probably has set it up in such a way that you're just waiting on you to finally break through and say this.
Right.
And then you can actually, voice what the Holy Spirit probably gives you, or why you're really there in my life and make the difference, man. But
Mm-hmm.
we just feel like, yeah, you got a Porsche, I got a I don't know, a Corvette. You got a house in Bloomfield Hills, Michigan. I got a house just outside of, I don't know, Canton or something like that. That's same square footage as yours.
Mm-hmm.
Your job, knowing that you are an engineer and I may be a programmer, you getting 130,000 a year. I'm getting 122,000 a year. And that's not what people in my field make. But
Yeah. Right.
but we want to project this image, man, that we don't want to be, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it all boils down to not being too deep, but pride and fear of judgment.
Yeah.
Fear of being less than in somebody else's eyes. We always want to be superior to folk, or at least on a peer level with people that we think are doing better than us. But I think that leads to, this whole thing we talk about is men not really sharing and being real and honest with what's going on in their lives, and they just keep it to themselves and suffer in silence.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. You opened the show by making a statement that women seem to have this friendship thing on lock much better than we have.
Yeah. I would say that. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have their coffee, tea moments, and today's they'll have their wine moments, get
Mm-hmm.
together and talk. I would like to say, I hope the brothers can. There are some out there.
Yeah.
We just don't. I just don't really know of a bunch of them I can call out. I mean, I know a few. I do know a few.
Yeah. Me too.
That could be honest and sincere. But I just think that we need to kind of project that a lot more and realize that it's safe, and you don't have to put that word in front of it that you used earlier, no homo.
Right. You ain't gotta
bring it in, give a hug. Yeah, because it's like, hey, just if we watch each other's lifestyle, we should know what we're about. And I tell you this personally, this is just me, that if you were going through something, and this is the stage of our relationship now, if you were going through something that was really keeping you up at night, that was really kind of ravishing your home in some form, where you're checked out, where it's bothering Michelle and you've sworn her to secrecy or whatever. And I understand, the closest is a husband and wife. I can't come in between that. But I would just say, as your boy of many, many years, man, I would hope that you would feel comfortable enough to share.
Right.
Whatever it is. And I may not be able to do anything about it. So you're probably saying, well, what's the use of sharing? But if nothing else, I got your back in prayer, man. If nothing else, I'm going to call and check on you.
Right.
And say, hey, how's it going today? Where's your mind at? Where's your headspace? That's my word. Where's your headspace?
Yeah. Because
I don't want you to have a jacked up Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, just because you got some news on Monday that was a blow to you.
Right.
So the whole part of community, I'm a huge person that needs and supports and depends on that community circle. I think we cannot do life alone. It is meant to be done with community.
Yeah, I believe that to be true too.
Yeah.
The Bible says that to forsake not the assembling of yourselves together. I know that we use that a lot of times in a make sure you go to church context and make sure the church folk get together. But it makes sense also in a practical, everyday kind of connotation that people need to get together and talk and hang out and have that communication and that sense of community, even if it's with another friend, maybe not a whole bunch of people, but another person that you can just reach out to.
Right.
Like my wife, she has people contact her like all the time, and she'll reach out and talk to these ladies. Let me meet you for coffee, or let's go out and just get together and talk, and and she just has these experiences, man, where people are just like reaching out to her for, wisdom, emotional support, just an encouraging word.
So they pour into each other.
Yeah. And sometimes it's more lopsided, but because, but how that goes. But my point is, I would sit here today thinking my inbox stay kind of quiet compared to hers. What's the big deal? Because I said, I know I got some stuff to share. I can help a brother out. But it's just how we do. Fellas just don't reach out and do that. We just do not. We don't reach out and say, look, I need to get with you because such and such and such and such is going on. And I could really use your insight. Guys just don't do that for the reasons that you pointed out earlier about being not wanting to seem lacking, not wanting to look weak, not wanting to seem like their world is anything but finished. Guys tend to, and women do it too, but my experience with men is that we do put up those fronts, and it's detrimental. And I'm gonna get into your lane because suffering in silence, man, eventually that inner pressure, that stress that you're dealing with is going to start eating away at other parts of your life, whether it be your body, your mind, or other relationships will start to be negatively impacted the more stuff you keep in and try to deal with internally.
Wow. That's heavy, Nate.
It is heavy, but it's the truth.
Let me read a couple of the comments that we have flowing in. It says,
I see you drop them down there.
Yeah, we're in a microwave society. Everyone wants a quick answer, fix to everything. They may not want to share because they feel your response will not help them quickly. So don't say nothing.
I like that.
If it's not going to fix what I'm going through.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
That's true. I like that. Microwave.
Right here says some of it is trust.
Mm-hmm.
Keeping up with the Joneses.
Them Joneses, man, putting people in a mess.
I'm still waiting to meet the Joneses, man.
Joneses live too far up on the hill for you.
I've known some Joneses.
They get around by helicopter.
But they didn't fit
an airplane.
they didn't fit the mold of how I hear the Joneses talked about in situations like this. Wow.
Yeah, Joneses, boy.
Men, just like women, need accountability partners. Yes.
Yep, we do.
Yes, we do.
Because we got a lot to a lot on the line as men. We have a lot on the line, especially men with families, to keep this behavior up. We got children, legacies. We've got marriages. We've got all kind of stuff that can suffer if we don't learn how to, depend on each other outside of this superficial stuff we've discussed. Because there's so much I can learn from another brother. Because I know, like I said, I know logically that nobody has it all together, and I know I don't, and I know I don't have all the answers to anything. I have several answers to a lot of things, but those are still in development even. So I don't know everything. I've not mastered anything. And so I know that there are brothers who might have some insights that I don't about life, marriage, relationships, God, money, success, personal development that they might have that I could draw from if I would open myself up to it.
Yeah.
As long as I stay sheltered and hidden and want to deal with everything on my own, I'm limiting my growth. I'm limiting my development. And like you said, I'm being a shell of who I could be because I refuse, because of what pre-existing fears and, terrible upbringing, to reach out to another guy and say, look, this is where I'm at. I remember there was this guy that I respected. I still respect him. We don't talk anymore, but I thought he was especially good at managing his household. Okay. And so I would jokingly say, look, man, I need you to sit down with me and give me some man lessons.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, what you talking about, man? He was a man lesson. And I broke it down exactly what I was, this is what I admire, blah, blah, blah.
Made it clear.
And it never materialized because I just think he was too uncomfortable to go into that space of having those kinds of discussions.
Being vulnerable, man.
Yeah. And maybe in kind of a conversation with me, it would have been discovered that, he had some vulnerabilities that he didn't want to expose. That could have been an issue. And I think that was an issue. But I was open to put myself out there and say, look, I can learn from you.
Yeah.
But, too many of us don't want to do that.
Yeah. That kind of leads me to this comment here. I think is really good from what you just said.
I like to meet that lady, Sugar. I want to meet her.
Sir, come on, man. Calm down. You got a wife and her name is Sugar.
Okay. All right. All right.
Sir, you are the second person I've heard use the word community.
Mm-hmm.
What happens when the people in the community are not totally honest?
Wow. That's a good question.
That's a deep one there.
That's a good question. Basically, you can't trust your community.
Yeah, I mean, but how do you know that unless you at least, like I said earlier, you got to put it out there and see what they do with the information. Now, if they let you down multiple times, my dad used to always say, a fool gets bit by the same dog twice.
Love it. Love it. You ain't about to get me twice.
Right. Stop going up to that gate, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing of the matter is, I would take that a step further. You just don't have to, how I am, Nate. I like to get deep into the conversation. I like that closure thing.
Yeah.
Where I've gotten better with it. I don't have to have closure with everybody and everything. But if you disappoint me, I'm open to hear what happened. Mm-hmm. I'm just not going to shut you off. I'm not going to shut you off completely. Because one of the things I remember, and I told somebody this as we were winding down, is that you used to always tell me you and another friend of mine, if they're listening from college, they used to always say, I'll put her name out there. Donna used to always say that I'm loyal to a fault. And you used to always tell me the problem with me is that I give people the benefit of the doubt too much and too long.
Mm-hmm.
And which allows a person to keep disappointing, hurting, that type deal.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to take those moments of being foolish and learn a balance with that.
Yeah, you do.
You don't just cut them off because they disappointed you or the community didn't step up like they should have, but you kind of got to drill down and figure out why. And after you have that discussion as to why, then guess what? If they can't handle it, then you make the decision. Okay, well, I won't put you in that kind of pressure cooker anymore by trying to handle that kind of heavy information. But thank you. I'm gonna move on to somebody else. But we can still be cool.
Right.
But just not with heavy things.
Man, that's good. I like that approach. But you know me, I got to throw the wrench in there since we're using the word community. If you live in a community where there is constant danger to yourself, your children, your property, constant crime and all this other kind of stuff, if you have the ability to leave that community for safer shores, would you do it, or do you stay and keep trying to give that community a chance?
Ooh.
Well,
Wow.
maybe they'll stop shooting down the street and selling drugs next door, and maybe that prostitute house across the street just will, stop having holes in there.
Hey, I took on a couple of drug houses.
Yeah, you did.
I was like, we don't do that over here. Stop that. We don't.
Yeah, but they still doing it.
No, they gone, bro.
No,
I mean,
okay. in general, in other parts of the neighborhood, it's still going on. But I'm just saying in the community. So I'm saying, do you, in that instance, the wise choice is, if you have the ability, you pack up and you go to a better community. And so I would say, in your example, if those people that you give the chance to understand why they may have disappointed you, why they weren't honest, why they weren't trustworthy, and you find out in that conversation that it's probably going to repeat, find you a new community. Life's too short to be trying to work with people that just don't want to change.
That is true. That is true. Yeah, that is true. Yeah, and I think we were saying the same thing in the sense where you said find another community. Because my thing is, I don't have to stop necessarily talking to you,
right?
But I'm just not going to entrust you with any kind of heavy
information. You're not going to put yourself in that position again.
Yeah, but and they may get upset or offended by that because you don't talk to me like you used to anymore. Because you can't handle it.
Yeah, you can't handle it.
You can't handle it.
You misuse it.
Exactly.
And then that leads to what we talked about before, where sometimes people stay guarded because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So
So as we're winding up, bro, two things before we get to the last two things. Because I said we're talking about topics that affect the family. How would you sum up suffering in silence? How it can really affect? I mean, in just like a couple of sentences, how do you think it really affects a family being the best that they can be, flowing as a unit because of the suffering in silence? Because my thing is, I believe in family, and I want to see families hold and together and being the best that they can be, and we can really start living the Cosby Show life. Not necessarily not the professions, but just the lessons that were taught.
Yeah,
teachable moments, the love factor that was in the house, to just getting through it at the end of the half hour of the show. We got to get through some things. Just can't sit on them and hold it in when we're self-destructing on the inside.
Right. Yeah, I think the whole suffering in silence thing, that's personal for me, but I think it's a detriment to the family, the potential of the family, because you're not 100% yourself, because you're holding on to things and trying to deal with things without trying to get help, trying to get a release. So you can't be 100% not committed to, but you can't be 100% available to your family. And because of that extra weight you carry, you might not be able to handle other stressors or other situations that come along adequately, because you're not free, because you already have so much weight on you.
Wow.
You're not emotionally available. you're not mentally available, and potentially it can affect your health. And on a very extreme end, it can affect your life. And none of that is good for the progress of a family or the family being the best it can be.
Yeah.
I think here's my wisdom nugget, and I'll just give it to you right now.
Hold up.
You ain't got to. You gonna solo me?
I'm gonna solo you, man.
Okay, I'll give you my wisdom nugget.
Got you. There you go, bro. You got
I'm flashing that pose. No, but here's the wisdom nugget, man. In order to live a magnificent life, one must first become magnificent. And when I say that, I mean, if you want your family to be the best it can be, you've got to, as the family leader, be the best version of yourself.
Wow, tone setter.
Tone setter, brother. That's wise. That's wise.
Man. That's
wise.
Bro.
That's wise. That's wise.
That's good. Yeah, that's really good.
So yeah, I think it's detrimental to the family, man, if we're suffering in silence and we're not getting, help, whether it be counseling or whether it be just a trusted friend to unload and get bounce stuff off of, a prayer partner, accountability partner. You can't deal with stuff forever because you will either implode or explode at some point.
And it's like a trickle down to everybody else in the house. Right?
And everybody else. I mean, man, I wish we had more time. I've got somebody in my family. I'm not going to say who and what side of the family.
Junebug.
We'll call him Junebug.
John. Veronica.
Junebug has classic anger issues. And you never know why this person is angry. But the inner turmoil that this person deals with always comes out in the form of anger. And because of that anger, the family has been impacted as a result. Had that anger not been present, who knows what that family could look like? Who knows what kind of love that family could experience? But right now, the family exists in fear and dread because that anger is always present, and it's not being dealt with.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
That is real heavy. Good show, man.
Yeah, great show, man. Good topic.
Very good show.
I hope we did it some justice. If you guys want to see more on this, man, please let us know in the comments. And while you're in the comments, make sure you hit that like button, that thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you share. We're in season 6 of the Knowledge and Power podcast show, and we want to be your go-to source for knowledge and power. Get you some.
Yeah. Hey, man, can I close out with a lot of people missed our intro. Can I close out with the intro?
Oh, man, please.
All right.
We'll call it the outro now.
We call it the outro?
It's the outro now. You closing with it, so it's the outro now.
Yeah, I know. But all right. So, man, as always, it's great sharing the screen with you.
Yeah, appreciate everybody that commented and participated in the conversation. Those of you who did share, we appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Yep. And Jake, we will see you back with us next week.
Yes, sir, brother. We missed you, man. So we'll see you next week.
All right. Take it easy, everybody.
All right. Have a good night.
Sacrifice and really acknowledging and being mindful of the sacrifice he made.
Sorry.
What can you say?